Good morning.
Good
Morning.
morning. Wah, dah ada orang masuk.
Juara you seorang kat Setempat ke?
I seorang je kat Setempat.
You tak bukan. Ni kat rumah Oh,
Tak
cool lah background.
adalah, background virtual. Hello Shana,
Good.
hello Sofia, hello Felicia,
Hi.
hello Syafiq.
Morning.
Good morning.
Hello, that's a very nice background.
Ya ke? Wah, tapi virtual aja lah actually. Kalau tak kena tangkap
You know, we can actually make movies now.
Yeah, I know. By just changing. Hi Jonathan, good morning. Baru nak connect to audio. Thank you so much guys for being here so early.
For Sunday, Saleh.
Yeah, I know, especially for Sunday. We'll just wait for the rest. It's rather early. Okay. So we were just waiting. Maybe we can start sort of like introduce ourselves maybe. So just to lull the time away. So let me start off. Hi.
Break the ice. You break the ice.
Yeah, no, I just chit chatting. We'll break the ice later with the rest. But just since we're all here,
Alright.
so let me start off. Hi, my name is Juara. I'm the Chief Executive for Social Enterprise Academy. I wear a couple of hats. I also have got a place called Setempat, which is a co-being space for social entrepreneurs and social innovators. And I'm also involved with CSET, which is the Chamber for Social Entrepreneur Development. And we CSET and Setempat is co-hosted. Sophia, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name is Sophia Gani. Previously, for the first 3 years of my career, I was a regulator with Securities Commission. But recently this year, I got into a venture capital firm. So my passion lies in entrepreneurship, and it's both a scary time to be.
Yeah, so we have a venture person.
So I'm interested to join the discussion. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much. Welcome. Venture people are really needed. They are a rare species in the ecosystem.
Yes.
All right. So Felicia, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Felicia. I'm from Arus Academy. So I run a education social enterprise. I've also been involved with CSET from the beginning, trying to do outreach to the different SEs, trying to see how we can support them better. So yeah, I'll be sharing a little bit later. So I'll talk more about what Arus does and how we're coping with the COVID situation a little bit later. But hello everyone, hope everyone's doing great. Hope you had your breakfast as well. I'm actually just eating my breakfast now. Terkejut when Jara called my name.
I hope you did. I didn't disrupt that. Yeah. Okay, and also by the way, Felicia is also a member of CSET, a member of the committee. Right, thank you Felicia for the introduction. Jonathan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, good morning everyone. This would be my first time meeting everyone here. I actually saw this event on Instagram, so I decided to join. By day, I work at Digi, and in the evenings or in my free time, I am the Vice President for United Nations Association Malaysia Youth. So a lot of what I do as my passion involves helping build up a youth ecosystem, especially on the SDGs, and to find sustainable means for us to advance sustainable initiatives that can further SDG values. My personal passion is in entrepreneurship. I like building organizations, and I like seeing an organization grow, especially when it can contribute social impact. And to make it sustainable, well, it needs to have a certain amount of cash flow. So that's where the entrepreneurship comes in.
Right. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Again, intermediary is also another ecosystem. Thank you so much. Who's next? Roslyn, would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay, I was typing. I pun terkejut masa diorang panggil I. Okay, hello, good morning and welcome, and happy to see everybody here. Jonathan, Sophia, Shafiq, Lisha, Nadia, some numbers there. I am currently with Magic, and hopefully a much longer time there. My Malaysian Global Innovation Activity Center. I'm with the academy there, and I'm part of the team that curates and runs programs, and of course, inadvertently, this is a good moment for everything to go online and digital. So we have curated a few digital programs that will be this week. Apart from that, our boot camps will also be online after this, and hopefully we can reach out to more people. And my passion is entrepreneurship, but more so in the people of entrepreneurship, because I truly admire the characters and personalities of these people, especially those in the SE sector. I am like quite awed by how where does this selfish attitude comes from, like waking up in the morning for someone else, and also entrepreneurship itself in a way that it solves problem. And I am keen. I would call myself a problem seeker, and I love solving it. And I go after them, such like sort of a Ghostbuster thing. I hope I can solve as many with entrepreneurs. So that's what I'm continually doing in and outside of Magic.
Right. Thank you, Roslyn, for that introduction. Again, thank you, Roslyn is also a member, council member for CSAT. Welcome, Nafis. Welcome, 353260. I feel like calling that number on the thingy. So maybe Shafiq, would you like to introduce yourself? Then we'll go to 353260, and then maybe Nafis. Shafiq? Okay. Safiq seems to not be there. All right. So maybe Miss 353260, would you like to introduce yourself? Okay. Hi, Fu. Fu in and out.
Hi.
Okay. So so maybe Nafis, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Okay, sure. Hi, Jordan. Hi, Roslyn.
Hi, Nafis.
So my name is
Welcome.
my name is Nafis. I head the Nation Building School. We're a non-profit for youth empowerment. So that's what we're doing. So amidst the COVID, we've been collaborating with other SEs and non-profits to see where we can get the outreach for beneficiaries who are affected by COVID. So yeah, so that's me. Hi, everyone.
Thank you, Nafis. And we have Alex Tan just joining in, and Awang. So maybe we could go to Fu. Fu, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. I am Fu, and I believe I met and I know some of you already. So, hello, how are you guys doing? For those who don't know me, I am a freelance trainer and facilitator. Work with neOOne and SE Academy quite a bit. I also do run, I actually a founder of social enterprise, my Chankle. And my Chankle do is to build sustainable trails in forests to kind of build capacity of support for preservation and conservation of green spaces and forests. So we have also extended our services to help from the forests, especially the orang asli. So this is in a nutshell what my Chanko does.
All right. Thank you, Fu. And maybe Awang, would you like to introduce yourself while waiting for us to come to the hour for starting the Sunday?
Yeah. Hi everyone. Assalamualaikum. Selamat pagi. Good morning. My name is Awang Syarizat bin Awang Abu Bakar. I'm from 16 Resources and Consultancy, and we also have certificate training and resources. We are providing the teaching aid to learn the sign language, easy, fast, fun, and effective, which is the flashcard. And we are also doing the training job for the team building, public speaking, and everything else. So I think that's all from me, Zara.
All right. Thank you, Awang. Welcome. Alex, maybe you would like to introduce yourself? Hi, Alex. Alex doesn't seem to have the, okay, maybe we have, let's say, Zad. Yeah, Zad, would you like to introduce yourself while we are waiting for the hour?
Hi, good morning. My name is Muhammad Shehzad. I'm from Athens, Malaysia. We are an equity crowdfunding platform that is licensed by SC. We are Sharia compliant, but we have yet to go live. We are waiting for clearance from RMO and ICM. So
Okay.
basically, we are participating this morning to see how we can contribute to the funding of social enterprises by doing campaigns for them.
All right. Yeah, again, a venture person that we that is much needed in the ecosystem. Welcome, Zad. And we have also Wan Nazrik. Yeah, the president for that. Wan Nazrik, would you like to introduce yourself while waiting for the hour?
Okay, yeah. So sorry, I know it's on a Sunday. So yeah, I dabble into a couple of social entrepreneurship has been kind of my passion. I'm not a social entrepreneur by nature, but we also do more of a venture building or you know, to some extent capacity build for social enterprises like Malaysia. So yeah, I guess I'll be blabbering a bit more later. So I'll leave it to you guys.
Okay, thank you, Nazrik. And we have maybe another person that could introduce him or herself. We have Fawaz from Sri Lanka, if I'm not wrong. Hi, Fawaz. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, Jara. Thank you. Yes, wonderful to be part of it. So I'm here looking forward because I work around social enterprise and promoting social cause and innovation. So yeah, so that makes me exciting to be part of this.
Thank you, Fawaz, for being here. And we have a time for one more. Maybe Shaikit, would you like to introduce yourself? I'm sorry, guys. I'm just picking up at random. Yeah.
Yeah, I just joined in. So hi guys, my name is Shaikit. So few things I'm doing. I'm doing my PhD now. I'm also running a social enterprise. We are trying to develop a device for agricultural water. At the same time, also Nafis is with me. Nafis is actually my co-founder, and also I'm the COO of Nation Reading School, and also currently involved in the Malaysian Social Project as their co-director of business development. So yeah, a bit of everything here and there. So yeah.
All right, Shaikit, thank you so much. All right, so the hour has arrived, and let me welcome you, everyone, officially. And thank you so much for being here. I know it's a Sunday morning, and the fact that you guys are tuning in on a Sunday morning to be with us is really an honor. I thank you so much for that effort. Yeah, hopefully we will have an hour or so of a fruitful discussion. Just a bit of background. So Sunday is actually a physical session. We actually do it once a month to actually promote social entrepreneurship. It's a marketplace, come talks, a bit of a few things. But on a Sunday, on the third Sunday of every month, I think we've run once, and then things happen, and then COVID came in, and then we were planning to do one this month, but we decided to turn it into a virtual space. At least, rather than waiting for it, might as well us be proactive and innovate about it. That's the reason why we are doing it virtually. And I'm glad to share that we have quite a bit of enrollment. So thank you so much for that. But before we start, let me just maybe share a little bit of housekeeping. So that we are all in the same page. Yeah. So let me just share. Hold on. Let me just do this. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let me just share with everyone. I'm going to share a screen on some just housekeeping. Can everyone see that? Yeah. All right. So for today, I and Nadia will be moderating, and it's just going to be santai, relax, yeah. But at the same time, we of course need to have some guidelines. So number one is I as a moderator will be emceeing the session, and I would like we would really love if the participant will be able to mute your audio. And if you feel that the video is not required, you could also switch it off. The speaker I have a couple of speakers. I will share with you the agenda in a short while. We'll be presenting. Will be with video and audio. And we encourage the participants to use the chat to ask questions or share views during the presentation. And what we will do is I and Nadia will process it. Yeah, we might have a polling to take place during the session via the Zoom function. And oh, by the way, this session will be recorded and featured live on social media platform. So if you don't want your image to be included, please off the video. And last but not least, during the Q&A sessions, please use the raise hand button to allow the moderator to better manage the session. The moderator will call one at a time for the questions. Yeah. That's the session guideline. Let me, this is basically our agenda. The welcome and overview is we are doing it right now. In a short while, I will get everyone to introduce themselves via the chat function. Then we will have Nazri to actually give a presentation on the 2020 economic landscape and to contextualize the Malaysian IC sector. That will be for 20 minutes. Then there will be some information around our resiliency planning overview for the social enterprise. Then we have the grassroots sharing, which is going to be very interesting. I think Masala Will and Go Job will be joining us from site, from their respective real-time site. And last but not least, we will do a wrap-up and a conclusion. Yeah. So that's basically our agenda. And I'm glad to share with you among us, we have a few, these are the demography. of the ones that are joining us, predominantly social entrepreneurs. And by the way, we will be sharing this with you, the data from today's session. Right. So it comes to self-introduction right now. So what I would like to encourage is that if everyone could introduce themselves with some of this information and more in the chat. So rather than we having time, spending time one at a time, maybe we could use the chat function. We could introduce ourselves, name, organization, and the reason why you spend time to be here today. Basically, why are you here? And maybe some other information. So what we could do is we could then collate this later on and maybe make it available for everyone. All right, so if we could maybe start doing that. Please, 1 minute for everyone to introduce themselves in the chat function.
Chat is disabled.
Oh, is the chat disabled? Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay, hold on. Let me just, Nadia, could you on the chat?
Looking at it now, Jack. They're supposed to be okay, Jack.
Yeah. Hold on, that our tech Nadia will apologies for that. It's the first time that we are hosting something like this. Yeah. So I hope everyone have a bit of patience. Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. Yes. So if everyone could introduce themselves in the chat. Yeah. Let's take 1 minute for that before we invite Nazri for his. So we have Carl, Carl from Pandemic, Nafis from Nation Building School, Roslyn just said hello, yeah. Nadia said hello, Alex from Invigorate International, Nina from Grow the Goose, we have, oh, okay, all right. So it's going really fast, so brilliant, yeah. So I shall not be reading one at a time. Yeah. So please do refer to the chat introduction from time to time. You'll be able to see all that. Yeah. But we'll share the people that are here with everyone. Farida for Coffee for Good. There's Fawaz from Curve Up. Yeah. Anyone else? Yasmin from neOOne. Zad. Yes, Zad. Yes. Yeah. Have we got everyone? Siti. Well, I didn't see Siti's introduction. Maybe Siti. Anne-Marie Tan. Yeah. Zarinato, yeah, Shana from Sama-Sama Spa, yes, Sophie Gani.
Yes, I take that.
Rizalman, let's just speak for a bit. Yeah. Anyone else? There's Reza, there's Anja, yeah, KCP from AFL Laguna, yeah. Okay. Have we gotten everyone there? Right. So maybe if we do miss anyone, you guys could just key in. Yeah. So maybe now I would like to invite Dazrik to give his presentation so that we could we could listen to what he has to say. Dazrik, take it away.
Okay. Hi everyone. So this is a bit new for me also. So apologies if there's any hiccups and stuff like that. So I had this background because I don't want you guys to see my bed, which is uncapped. So first and foremost, thank you everyone for making the time on this Sunday. And I know we kind of like pivot our SE Sunday, like Jora mentioned, we usually do at Setempat, but because of this MCO, we and pivot to do a bit more digital. So I'll spend 10 to 15 minutes with you, and you'll spend about 5 other minutes to do a bit of a Q&A and insight. But I wanna share, as Joara mentioned earlier, about this situation that we kind of face, and how does that contextualize to us as practitioners, stakeholders in the SE space. So allow me to share the slides that I have, and I'll go through quite quickly on this one as well.
Yes.
Okay, yes. Great. So this is what Joara mentioned earlier. So I think Joara would be pretty much moderate the session. I'm pretty much blinded with what in front of my screen. And I noticed maybe the bandwidth usage is a bit low, so you probably see a bit lag. If that's the case, if you wanna sort of switch off your videos and also mute your audios, also feel free to do so. And use the, I guess, chat functions to sort of share some inputs and comments, which Joara would pick up, and we could sort of discuss that slightly later. So the context for today, we'll spend a bit of a few minutes to sort of frame the conversation or the discussion we have today. But I want to do a bit more broad in terms of the ecosystem landscape and contextualizing to our current SE situation. After which I've noticed that 50% of us here, and based on the sort of form or registration form, is actually practitioners. So I want to deep dive a bit into what I call a resiliency planning for SE. I know most of you guys have think about it, but if you don't, I think this is a good framing to sort of share as well. So the later part, which I think is a bit more interesting, just aside from hearing me blabber, is actually we wanted to also see or share or also know about what's happening on the ground, especially with all this COVID-19 that is happening. So we've got 3 social entrepreneurs who do a bit of sharing and also just to understand how do actually they support and facilitate the current situation with COVID-19. Okay, Joara have shared this. So like I've said, I think a lot of us here today, and based on the responses, we have about 50% are practitioners. So I try to contextualize the conversation around more skewed to the practitioners, but not neglecting the rest of the private sectors. And I know there's intermediaries in this space as well as the ones who are interested about the social. So welcome everyone. So just a quick intro about CSAT. I know you guys haven't, or some of you might heard in 2018 and 2019 with the new government. Then now it's a new government, but we decided to sort of pivot a bit because we had about 4 to 5 years sort of a strategic planning with these community NGO advocates for social entrepreneurship. But I just wanted to focus for this year, and this is actually came out of our, I guess, business continuity planning. Like what, when we sit down about 3 weeks ago before MCO happened, we realized that a lot of things that we wanted to do for 2020 may not happen. So case to point, if you were involved in experience last year in Mereka Publica, things around, we wanted to do the Social Enterprise World Forum and stuff like that, that has pretty much delayed and cancelled. So now we pivot a bit in terms of the direction of CSAT, and we say let's do more in terms of this navigating through 2020, knowing the fact that we're going to go into a bit of economic turmoil, so to speak. So just to put a bit of context, and I think regardless whether you're a social entrepreneur or you're just wanted to know more, I think this is a good framing that I draw from MIER, the Malaysian Institute of Economic Research. And I wanted to share this with everyone because I want to make sure that we at least think about the long-term view, what we're facing beyond this COVID-19 situation. So as you guys are aware, as we had in Malaysia 27 fatality, the Malaysian government have started these flatten the curve intervention, which may go to 14 April, mid of April, but we also anticipate that it may take longer if the situation doesn't improve. So also, if they also point out, if we don't actually do this intervention, there'll be about 2 million Malaysians would actually be affected, and the situation might be worse off. So what does that mean to business owners, business practitioners, or even people like you and I, broadly speaking, right? If you haven't gone through the gravity of the situation, we look into employment spectrum. 2.4 million is estimated in terms of job losses, and this goes across all walks of life, B40s, M40s, or even the T20s to some extent. What does that mean is that Malaysian collectively will lose about RM95 billion of household income collectively. Now, the estimation to that is actually our GDP going to be contraction, meaning it will be negative growth, whereby approximately about 6.9 to 7% negative. So if you see the landscape, it is not very promising. Now, if you see, we've kind of like positioned ourselves around this concept of VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And all of these questions are relevant now, and more so relevant now because we're in this stage of unprecedented problem that we're facing. Some of us are a bit more aware, but most of us are not really aware in terms of the gravity of the situation and depending on how long does this may take. And to be honest with you, maybe a lot of us may not have the right answer anyway. But the idea here, and I wanted to frame us members, also the practitioners, is actually to at least think about this VUCA. You know, the volatility is not COVID, it's about the global economy. For example, the oil price has just pretty much go on a fall. Uncertainty, we don't know how long does this take. Would there be a third wave in Malaysia? And the government is looking at it seriously. Now, the complexity is actually because we're so integrated, our value chains globally and also here is very connected, and it's just kind of ambiguous with all this happening. So these are some of the points that you probably have to think of. These are some of the things that we probably read of in the articles, but I wanted to contextualize in terms of how does this affect us. Now, in the social entrepreneurship space, specifically in Malaysia, it's kind of like in a nascent stage. A lot of us used to operate in relatively good times, but for most of us, we have little to no experience in terms of facing bad or turbulent times. Now, I want you to sort of think a bit. How are you responding, responsive, or being reactive to the current situations that we're going through, regardless whether you're in a product base or service base, right? So even if you run an F&B, catering, cafe owners, with a lot of our practitioners in social enterprises, how does this, or how are you approaching this? So we know some of our practitioners also who are into the capacity building, venture building, spa services, travel agencies and stuff like that. Customers are pretty much dwindling. Are we pivoting? have we done enough to sort of future-proof ourselves? From CSAT lens, we're more cognizant about the ecosystem that we have built. So one of the reasons why we kind of do this and wanted to sort of, at least at this point of time, to share, is that to make sure everyone kind of aware with the gravity of the situation that we're going through. Now, this is a bit more sort of an individual perspective, I feel. So if you're a business owner, founders or co-founders and stuff like that, have you really equipped yourself with this skill? Now, I don't think among us here today are able to sort of tackle all of these specifically, but something to think about. Do you recognize the challenge that we're having now? Do you have the propensity to do crisis or chaos management to some extent? Are you pivoting? Do you need to hibernate, or do you need to scale, or do you need to change the way you're doing your business now? Decision making is quite important with the current situation, and this kind of like time to agile execution and implementation. And most of all is effective communication, because you need to set the expectation, manage the expectation with your partners, customers, but most importantly beneficiaries, because they're the one for social enterprises to support. You need to sort of set certain expectation that we're going through difficult times if we'll not be able to cope with that. Now, I want to sort of go a bit quick on this. So we kind of like launched this, I guess, initiative or campaign around defense. The idea was defense is actually to see if we can sort of collaborate or sort of coordinate ourselves in a certain way so that we make sure we go through this VUCA period a bit more strategically to some extent. But this sentiment is pretty much what we're kind of like experiencing now anyway. Well, just to caveat on this, so the defense sort of inputs or survey that we kind of do actually happens before the MCO period. It's kind of like early March. But for most of us, we kind of anticipate what we're going through anyway. But just to set the context for everyone's benefit, right? So a lot of the social enterprises players here are in the retailing, similar to the arts and crafts, so I consider that quite similar, and F&Bs. And this is just based on our membership sort of, members sort of inputs that we're getting. There's also a significant chunk of us are into the capacity building space and as well as education and environment. Impact areas, by and large, I think it's quite prevalent that, you know, you can see the community space is where our Malaysian social entrepreneurship, or at least the members, are dealing with, mostly in the B40 groups, the underprivileged women, the rural communities, as well as youth. So that's kind of like apparent in that regard. But there's also, again, few of our members are into the environment sort of space, where deal with fabrics, plastics, and material wastage and stuff like that. So we kind of like slice and dice the mix again, but I think this is also a representation with the CSAT sort of group based on 2019. A lot are kind of like in the private sector practitioner space, but there's also a few others in the intermediaries space. So we kind of like do a bit of a sentiments pulse check. Safe to say that all of the questions are pretty much majority negative responses. So we asked the sentiments, are you optimistic or pessimistic about the current situation? 70% of us responded, yeah, we're not in the good space. Then we kind of like asked, how long do you think that this is going to prolong? All of us say it's more than 6 months. And surprisingly, 55% of us are underprepared for it. But this is also in kind of like relating back to more recent survey that's been done by Magic as well. They're kind of like into the startup space and into the SE space, looking into it a bit more specifically, whereby it was reported about 77% of SE or startups would not make it past the 3rd month if you go through this again. So the gravity of the situation is quite tough, I feel, at this point of time. Now, this is some of the key common themes that came back to us with regards to the survey. So we asked, what is your biggest concern? A lot of the input that came back It's around economic uncertainty. Investors are pulling out, investors are freezing their fundings and stuff like that. Obviously, pandemic is a key one because it's happening now, but there's also a third dimension around political instability within the Malaysian space. So then we kind of like ask again, what are the current measures or steps that a lot of us are taking? While this has not been seen throughout, but collaboration seems to be a big key. So a lot of us are tending to sort of work with each other and stuff like that to ensure that we kind of like make it through this period. But also, I guess as business owners, if you see there's pretty much an operation strategy around it. So how do you divest? How do you be a bit more conservative in terms of operations? Prioritization has been key, and also pivoting also another things that practitioners are kind of like looking into doing at the moment. The rest, it's quite, I guess, obvious to some extent. So a lot of people would like to see more coordinated efforts across sectors. So these are some of the things that we take into consideration and wanted to sort of stitch things through, collaborate. And interestingly enough, also, I think a lot of people are saying to do more with info and insight so that we can be prepared for what's to come. So I guess we can only prepare for what we know. So these are the things that I guess it's quite important for us to consider also, and if we could sort of come up with initiatives or programs cross-sector that will be interesting to sort of look into as well. Now, this I will run through very briefly, and this is just a framing that we kind of like put ourselves or wanted to organize ourselves. But there's a call to action to this because I wanted to get more, whether you're practitioners, whether you're a venture builder, capacity builder and stuff like that, to sort of see what we could do and the nature of defense. And I know there's a lot of ambiguity on defense a couple of weeks ago because we don't run programs. Defense also wasn't being prescriptive in terms of what it's supposed to do. But I want to see if we could sort of collaborate or co-create to some extent. And the idea here is actually to make sure that we kind of like able, at least from a social entrepreneurship ecosystem, to withstand the current challenges that's going through, at least at the grassroots level, I feel. So I wouldn't drain on this so much, but you guys kind of seen this based on the earlier slides also. So the target of, or the overview of defense campaign was actually to go through and see if we could withstand this economic conditions that we're going through with the COVID-19 and also the national social economic agenda. So we took all that into considerations and we kind of like framed into those three big themes that we wanted to sort of organize ourselves with and to see if we could do more within this space. Now, with digital immersion and engagement is something that I guess what we're kind of going through now. A lot of things that we do in terms of community building, community engagement, whether sessions like this are riding on digital. So we think that we probably can do better off with doing more of this. And I think it's quite important also because this probably would be the new ways of working moving forward. Information and foresight is something I've considered as thought leadership. Now, a lot of people were asking also, okay, if we're going through all these difficult times, what are the things that we need to prepare? If government are providing certain benefits, how do we contextualize that to our businesses or the social entrepreneurship space and see what we could do things a bit more strategically? So that is a bit of a tough piece, I feel, but I think it needs to be looked into as well. A lot of us here are probably concerned about this one. How do I make sure my business can sustain over time? So we wanted to see what kind of programs, initiatives, and also, I guess, interventions, so to speak, that we could do among ourselves at the grassroots level first, to sort of go through into all this. Now, I wouldn't dream so much on these couple of slides, but this is some of the points that the team or the founding team have gone through and crystallized, but also we probably need your input to sort of contextualize and create content around this. So things around digital platform, something that we wanted to do more as community. So that's something that we're looking at. I just highlighted this Sekita and Seminit campaign. It's something that we wanted to do to sort of activate awareness. Sorry, at this point of time, Reza, are you there? Would you be able to sort of share a bit about this? Ada tak, Reza?
Hello, hi. Hi, everyone. I'm Reza. So basically, the idea of this, I think I'll just do a quick one on. You want to start to compile, like not compile, basically gather all SE and try to give their leadership thoughts, or maybe also give what they want to do. We aim to do, like, we want to make it more active in terms of social engagement. So either it's via a post, a blog, or website. Or maybe what we want to do, one thing that we discussed with the team recently was to do like kind of like a 1 minute video where you can share about, like example, Juara did a 1 minute video on thought leadership, like talk about the collaboration between SE and how right now at this current moment, just to add on Dazri's points, like it's a time where as a social enterprise, we all should work together for our beneficiaries, for the impact that we create, rather than everyone just working in silos. So we will plan to launch this 1 minute video soon. Once we have the mechanism ready, that's where the time where I'll be the one who in charge of this, and I'll try to meet as many all of you guys out there, stakeholders out there, to share, not just from practitioners, but also from other key stakeholders as well. So that's basically from my side.
Yeah. So Reza from Grab Cycle is pretty much the key person to drive this. But the idea here is actually to create more awareness on the real sort of practitioners, and just to build a bit more hype. As we can see, there's a lot of things that we're doing in the social entrepreneurship space might not get the spotlight, but I feel with whatever happening now, there's an opportunity for social entrepreneurship to thrive, and maybe also to be a bit more prominent in the new economy, whatever that may look like. But I feel that is the thing that we wanted to sort of push for. So with business resiliency, I think what we wanted to do, and I draw this point from Nina and also Kim, which I think is quite true. We never really had a strong industry clustering. So that gives us a bit of a difficult situation, because a lot of things that we do in the social entrepreneurship space is either fragmented, community specific, which is all good. But in terms of ecosystem, we wanted to see if we could sort of group ourselves together into a specific category that may help us to sort of push forward in that sort of piece. Is Nina or Kim there? I would rather let them to speak about this, because it's pretty much their brainchild anyway. Nina, are you there? Or Kim?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So yeah, feel free to share.
Yeah. So basically, it's putting like people who are working with almost like the same group of beneficiaries in different clusters, so that like example, like probably myself working with the refugees and other SEs who are working with the refugees. We put ourselves into clusters, but then we are providing like different services, so we could see how we could help each other to help the beneficiaries in a more efficient way, and also like almost like peer to peer lah, because like we don't really have like people helping each other, and also more like helping each other to cross market each other's product or services, and have a much stronger message. So that's the whole idea lah.
Yep. So we kind of like have a rough sort of plan architecture today. So I know Nina from in Borneo, and also Kim is driving this. And to be frank with you, we won't be able to do this alone. So from a chamber standpoint, we were looking for partners or even like intermediaries like Magic to sort of activate this through. But we feel that we could sort of do more and see if this would be something that benefiting our specific businesses, but also industry altogether. I want to take a break here, but I wanted to share what Reza was saying earlier, and we got a sample of Juara doing it. So this is raw and unedited. But just to give you a view, so we'll probably write this on a digital platform at some point, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, and so forth. But the idea here is actually to sort of create more awareness about SE or topics around SE. So let me see if I'm able to sort of share that. I think I got it here. You guys can still see Abang Juara yang handsome ni kan on my screen, or no? Or is it a slide?
Can see both.
Do you see Juara's screen? Wait, I'll do this. I'll stop share and I'll reshare again.
Yeah, now it's Abang's full face.
Now, can you see this?
Yeah.
Deep talks. Okay, so this is just I guess me to take a bit of breather, but also what Juara has to say, and we wanted to create more content around this. Now, each and every one, you guys, you can. I would hope also to get for you guys to at least do this 1 minute thing, just to create a movement, and I think we call it now apa ni? Kita seminit or something. Yeah, seminit. So the idea here is actually to create more awareness what is social entrepreneurship or what social entrepreneur does, kind of thing. But Juara took a slightly different angle to this, which I think is good. But yeah, have a listen.
In these trying times, as entrepreneurs, I think it's important for us to be responsive rather than be reactive in finding out solutions. And the best way to be responsive in finding out solution is operating or coming from strategy or the concept. One concept that I would like to promote, that I would like to invite you to consider is the concept of consolidation. Try to look at your impact chain or your value chain and start looking where within the impact or value chain you're able to consolidate. And consolidation means coming together of many things. So that means it could be internal or external. So also consider how can you consolidate your clients, or how could you consolidate your beneficiaries? And even more to think outside the box is how can you consolidate as companies or as social entrepreneurs? It is something for you to consider.
Yeah, so those are the things that we wanted to sort of curate through and we need more content, I feel. So if any of you wants to do that, just a 1 minute sort of thing, share anything or everything you can about your business, your beneficiary, or whatever it is that will be helpful. We'll share the link or Reza would see how that mechanism works out. But the idea is actually just to create movement, more awareness around social entrepreneurship practitioners or even ecosystem players around that. Now, the last piece, I know I dragged on a bit, is with regards to this concept of information and foresight. So the idea here is actually, we wanted to have more of outside-in perspective. And I know a lot of our engagement among ourselves has been very practitioner-led. But we also wanted to see if we could sort of get outside views in terms of what do they see as social enterprises, how sort of, they can support on social entrepreneurship, whether it's true about legal, whether it's about taxation, whether it's about anything to do in the industry that social enterprise can either be subset of or leveraging on. Juara, sorry to put you in the spot. Would you be able to sort of say something about semester?
Yeah, okay. So semester, as you know, is a Malay word for universe, so which is representing the ecosystem. So the idea of this is that it came about by looking at the kind of engagement that we have been doing is very, what I would say, incestuous, meaning it's the same SEs and it's all practitioner uh, collection of practitioners. What we realized was that our initiatives was not did not bring in other overlapping sectors, and we felt that we need to bring in more of this sort of engagement, and that's the reason why we came up with this thing called semester, which is basically somewhat like a panel, a relaxed session by maybe 3 or 4 panelists coming from a different sector than SE. For example, it could be around franchising, or it could be around taxation. And it is also an opportunity for SEs to come in and an opportunity for other sectors to connect to SEs. And also SEs could use this platform as a way of somewhat advisory as well in nature. So they can come in and actually ask advice from this panel. We are looking at not more than an hour session, and we are thinking of doing it maybe once a month, depending on the response. But predominantly, the idea is to bring in other elements, not just the SE ecosystem alone. Yeah, I hope I explained that well. Does it? Back to you.
Yeah. So it's pretty much that. So we know a lot of our engagement and capacity building is around practitioners, but we wanted to see, so for example, with this all bank loans and stuff like that, that's given out by the government. Could we get some insights or advices in terms of how does that translate into our sort of businesses, or if there's anything else that we should consider even to leverage. And obviously between us, we probably only know so much in terms of the programs and initiatives, but it would be good also to get outside perspective, whether you're a banker, tax, and whatever it is to do that. So Joara and myself is helping to stitch that through, but we also would love to know or to sort of leverage on the community here. And I know it's not just practitioners here who are able to do that, whether around things around alternative funding, for example, crowdfunding. That could be another possible topic to consider with all the things that's happening now. Now, so this is the call to action, I guess. So what we'll do is actually we'll share this out. It's very quick and dirty in terms of knowing what kind of involvement that we could do collectively together. All the things that was shared just now is pretty much just a framework. The ones that Joara, Kim, Nina, and Reza have shared is something that we know we could activate at grassroots level, but we need more content around that. Now, it is not just focusing on these 3 things. It's not just about digital immersion. It's not just about business resiliency, and it's not just about thought leadership. But if there's anything else at all that you think that, hey, look, you should look into this. Hey, look, I could contribute into this. Hey, look, I want to be part of this. That's something that I think CSET as a group of community should be able to at least do, if it's not propose or advocate to government, private sectors, and stuff like that. So that's the whole intent of defense. It is not really about program specific. Any programs it is almost like a movement, basically. Any programs that supports that, it's something that we wanted to do. Okay, so, okay, sorry, I like to end with this, just for this segment. I know a lot of people kind of have a smirk at this, especially when we do our 2019 session. But we realized for CSET, we were opportunistic. To be honest with you, we were opportunistic in 2018 when the change of government to PM7. We wanted to make sure that social enterprise or social entrepreneurship has a house. So alhamdulillah, so far it has been taken up by the government in whatever form and nature that is. Then we pivot, we say, okay, we've done that. Now it's actually to build the communities. So I like to go by this quote, if you want to go fast, you go alone, which pretty much what the CSAC guys has been doing among the 13 of us at the initial stage. But now I think it's apt to sort of build that collective movement. And that's probably one of the reasons why we kind of like pivot a bit for this year and wanted to do this and launch defense to some extent, regardless whether you're a practitioners, whether you're intermediaries, whether you're from government, or as long as you're passionate and able to sort of contribute or do within the social entrepreneurship space, we're pretty much welcome to hear you out, to sort of, have a more deeper conversations anyway. So I guess this is the Q&A part. I leave it to Juara to sort of moderate, and this is probably the closure of the first segment, so to speak. Over to you, Abang Juara.
All right, yeah, Abang Juara, because I think I'm the oldest here. But okay, anyway, thank you so much, Nazrick, for that. Anyway, just to inform everyone, if you are interested to co-create with co-create in defense, Nadia has put in the link in the chat, and we're gonna start the Q&A by, you have been listening to my voice and Nazrick's voice, so maybe if you have any questions, if you could raise your hand in the chat, then what I'll do is I will call one at a time to then you could then give your question verbally. So I'm gonna start off with Carl. You did have a question in the chat. Maybe we could hear your voice. Would you like to ask that question verbally?
Sure.
Over to you, Carl.
Sure. Good morning. So I was just a quick question for Desric. From your survey, I was taken aback by the 100% of people believe it will last more than 6 months. So I was just curious about the sample. How many people participated in the survey?
Okay, thank you, Carl, for that. Desric?
Yeah. So to be frankly honest with you, the survey was almost just a dipstick of the members, and we've got about 47 to, I can't remember what was the last one, but it's around 50. But that is in reflection to what the members are facing, and to be honest, also I think a lot of our members with or less than 2 years in existence. So that's probably the reason why we see the responses of that 100. So the 100 was actually it's a sentiment saying that the period of time that we're going through this, whether it's a short time, that was the majority of sentiments would say we will actually face this period more than 6 months.
All right. Thank you, Nazrick. Anyone else with a question? And I think since you could just unmute and ask, that would be also okay. You don't have to raise your hand in the chat. Yeah. Any other question?
I have another question.
Yes.
So Cal again. I'm wondering for both of you, amongst all of the things that you could do going forward to support social enterprises through this period of volatility and certainly of business disruption and impact disruption, what do you think is what is your sense about what is the most important thing that you could, like if you could choose one, what would it be?
Nazrick, you wanna? Okay, for for me is like what for me is what Kim and Reza is doing already right now. It's really about talking to each other and how do we able to consolidate. some of the activities and also the beneficiaries so that we become more lean, more focused at this juncture in time. And I see this as also a good way of post-COVID, post-MCO. If you're able to do this, I think the whole ecosystem becomes a lot more, I would say a lot more, the fidelity is higher. Yeah, so that's my take. And that's right.
No, you're right. So I have a difficult question. Difficult response to that because if you see what we tried to do with defense is actually we wanted to activate all three, but and this is also because the nature of the members are as such. So if you see Kim is a bit more passionate in the grassroots awareness kind of thing, so that's why it was about that outside in perspective, and then I think it's quite important to do that. The digital immersion, I think, like it or not, we were going to go through that way anyway, and I think it will be a new norm to some extent. So the reason why we kind of like put that into the focus is actually we wanted to also enable social enterprises or social entrepreneurs who's not looking into that to at least start. So that's why, you know, the things around you know, happening virtual and digital and stuff like that, we wanted to sort of do that. If you ask me personally, I feel the third portion, the thought leadership, is probably key. And maybe this is because of my background, I guess, not so much from a practitioner background, but that to some extent gives a bit of foresight in terms of what to expect with regards to either industry shifts, you know, beneficiary management, or, you know, with all this new stimulus package. How do we contextualize that, I feel? So I'm sorry, I don't quite answer that question, but I feel all three is needed. But also I'm quite, to be honest, I'm quite also happy also because the chamber operates in the community that feels more about certain things. And that's what I'm hoping to sort of get out of the group here as well. So if you think that, you know, you want to do something a bit more on certain things, we're happy to sort of look into that as well. And we've been speaking to, you know, Magic, for example, with regards to capacity building space. How do we do more of webinars or digitalizing that? MIDAC, to some extent also, how do we contextualize that 250, sorry, I can't remember, was it 250 million or something? That goes into NGO and social enterprises, and how we distinct that. Sorry, 25 million, I can't remember.
25 million.
Yeah, sorry, Carl, I'm not answering your questions.
No, that's okay. That's good. That's interesting. I just wanted to ask a follow-up to Juara. You know, when you talk about consolidation, could you tell us a little bit more about what that looks like? Does it mean, for example, two social enterprises sharing an outreach channel to a particular group of beneficiaries, or how do you imagine that?
Yeah, that actually is one of the things that is one of the things that could happen with consolidation. The other one could be sharing of resources. I mean, bringing resources together to consolidate resources. Example would be like the digital front, rather than each and different SEs having to invest in technology. Maybe a couple of SEs can come together and utilize and consolidate what they have among all the ones that are grouping. It could also be like what Kim is doing, what Kim mentioned about consolidating the beneficiaries, rather than 3 or 4 going to 3 or 4 different beneficiaries, but bringing everyone together, all the beneficiaries together, and addressing it as a whole. So it could be at any point. I also feel that if it's even possible for mergers and acquisition to happen, where SEs that finds they are somewhat similar could actually merge together and acquire one acquiring the other, or coming together as a merger, yeah, so that kind of consolidation, basically bringing in different things, bringing together. I hope I'm answering your question, Carl. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's how I see it.
Got a question. It's actually quite a broad one. It's I've sort of bucketed into three. The first question is related to prioritization in terms of where you would be focusing your work on. How is that decision being made? Is it bottom up, where you're looking at what capacity the SEs have, or is it more top down, where you're looking at where the government wants to move and you're sort of investing your efforts into where the government feels like rebuilding efforts needs to be put in? So that's sort of the first question on prioritization, or is there like a sweet middle spot that you've found? The second question I have is related to governance. How are you making decisions in terms of how you move forward? Is there sort of like a voice that's representative of the community? Are you having consultation with different groups, with the governments, for instance, and do you have a view of what their interests are? And the third question is in terms of intermediaries. So if funders are keen to support some of the resilience work or knowledge transfer from different governments, for instance, do you have specific asks that you can bring forth to potential funders where there are areas of similar interest?
Right. Alex, hold on. After this, after we answer Khairun's question, I'm afraid I didn't get all three. Khairun, could you do me a favor to just type in the question in chat? And I think I'll pass this to Nazrick, because there seemed to be also a question around who are we including in our initiatives. Yeah, Nazrick?
Yeah, yeah, was that Khairun? Sorry, I probably tried to capture all three questions, so I've answered from the back ones. With regards to so to speak connection, if that's what you're asking, is that we started off as a loose coalition, to be honest with you. So the idea here was actually to just group of 12 initially, and all of these 12 are representing different parts of the social entrepreneurship ecosystem. So if you see, Juara and myself is pretty much, we consider ourselves as an intermediary or builders, whether it's capacity or venture builders. But by and large, about 8 of the founding members are into industry specific. So that's why you've got people like Reza, Kim, Imran, Kohan, and the rest. So they've kind of like, we kind of like form ourselves like an Avengers, I guess, with different backgrounds to do these kind of things. Now, the nature of engagement, and to be very honest with everyone here, we're kind of like opportunistic in that regard. So we've got some, since 2018, we've got some sites, visibility and sites as in SIGHT, with the stakeholders that we have been communicated with. So with regards to, back then was the CAM office, then there's KBS, then there's, I can't remember, a few others, Mestec, and of course MEDAC has been our kind of like close engagement in that sense. So we don't really have a program specifically in terms of doing all this, and also because a lot of us have our own businesses in that regard. But what we hope to sort of be able to do, so for example, you say, hey, I want to look into all this, and maybe there's potential to do this, and there's probably resources in terms of driving that through, we could actually help to facilitate that. And there's been cases, for example, like our initial engagement with KBS. So they've contextualized social entrepreneurship to what they've considered as ribbon cooning now. And the same also with KPKT last time, where they had this social entrepreneurship piece to activate the low cost apartment, and obviously MEDAC is pretty much close and the proxy to Magic, and that has been our sort of anchoring government engagement in that regard. But with everything else, whether it's private sector whether you want to do crowdfunding, whether you want to do certain campaigns, whether you want to do certain initiatives. We're happy to sort of see what we could support on that end. And our principle is actually collaboration is better. And if we could sort of do things together, we try to support that. And I think that's kind of like the DNA of defense also. So for example, if you think, hey, yeah, I want to do this, and can we sort of contextualize this to certain things, bring this up with government, whatever it is, we do as much as we can on that front. What was the other questions? Yeah, so that's kind of like answer number 2 also. So consultations with stakeholders, yes, we do to some extent. And depending on what's the nature of the pain points, and depends who has a more vested interest into that specific piece or initiatives and interventions, we do that. The third question, what do you specifically need from intermediaries, especially there are overlaps in interest? Program and climate, it is climate and governance. Sorry, what was that?
That one is what she runs. What Khairun runs is climate and governance. But I think specifically is what do we need from the intermediaries?
Yeah, so again, treat CSAT to some extent as a platform or a connector. And we don't run programs unless it's something that's quite strategic and something that we have the bandwidth of doing. So now if you have anything specific, for example, hey, yeah, I'm looking to do this in a specific government space, and it could benefit the SEs and stuff like that, so we tend to sort of take that on. And to be frank with you, we're not very, and I told the team the same, so we're not very concerned about who gets the limelight or whatsoever. Technically, we don't really care, because we're just a loose coalition to make sure the social entrepreneurship space gets support or do stuff. And I hope that answered the question though.
Yeah, just sort of wondering if you need funding, do you need capacity building, do you need sharing of business models, just so that we have clarity as to what your barriers are so that you can move forward in your work.
Okay, yeah.
So, sorry, Khairun, so meaning when you say you is CSAT, yeah?
The community or the coalition or, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we could have a separate discussion with you on that, and definitely it's something we kind of like look into we only know as much as we know. So I guess we could take this on separately, I guess, with you.
Right. Okay, thank you, Khairun. So maybe Alex, I know you have been raising your hand for a long time. So maybe you want to ask a question. Yeah,
No,
I know you typed it, but we would like to hear your voice.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Firstly, I really love the conversation here today. I think consolidation is very important and all these ideas. Great job, guys, for banding everybody together. I have a more practical concern. It feels like a lot of these initiatives takes some time, 1, 3, 6 months or 1 year. I think a lot of people are very stressed out, even within 30, 60, 90 days, the continuity of the business itself. As social enterprise, social entrepreneurs, myself, I'm focused both on the social part where I'm crowd sourcing for funds, but my entrepreneur part, where I generate income from corporate or from whoever, is next to nothing. So my question is, how do we also band together within a very, very immediate short term? Because some of us still have to pay OPEX, right? While all these ideas of banding together is very important, is there an avenue that we reach out to corporate even now for this MCO? I noticed a lot of SE are also doing humanitarian work. I think, I'm just guessing, the humanitarian work is also sponsored by corporate. I would like to hear your point of view on consolidation, but also during the MCO, so that we have some funds to sustain our business. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I thank you very much for that question, Alex. A very specific and I think a practical question at this moment in time. Maybe I could call on Masala Wheels, Kuhan, Reza, Anja, and Kim, if they could share some of their initiatives around the financial point of view during the MCO. Any one of you? Kim, Reza, Kuhan, and Anja?
Yeah, I can go first. Sorry, Juara, I just need a recap. You want me to share on?
So Alex asked about what would be the initiative that we as SEs can do, banding together to address the financial aspect of running an SE during this time. Did I get that right, Alex?
Yes, my concern is many SE, like many SME, will not be around, beyond the MCO, because a lot of what we do requires, immediate selling. Now everybody's on lockdown. Many of us are not generating a single cent of income, while we are not allowed to fire. Our operation costs still continue. There's stimulus package, but I don't think it suffices to pay all our bills. So just a practical question to make sure that as many SE as possible survive beyond this MCO and more.
Okay, all right. So probably I can share from our perspective at Masala Wheels. Number one is that I think we are looking at diversification. So we maintain our social costs, we maintain our beneficiaries, just that the way we probably deliver the services to them is no longer the traditional means of doing things. So we come out with different ways of service, different means of services, and different means of products. So I know some of them might be staying true to certain products that has been listed to their SEs, but we started to move into other products as well. Not just food, but we also we started looking into a diversification of our products, which might not be even in line in F&B. So that helps us to actually generate some income so that we can sustain the SE. And number two is we start to share resources. So I think we can see that some of the government agencies have actually extended their help in terms of services. For example, delivery services. Some of them even have actually extended their assistance in terms of kind. And that's what we are trying to leverage upon. So we get to save some money when we share resources with the government. We also share resources with SEs among ourselves, where we don't have to put in some subscription, but instead just leverage upon from other SEs subscription. So those are the two things. Apart from that, for us, I think probably because we got a lot of ourselves on tech-based promotion and tech. So that's helping us a little bit at this point of time, where most of our products are available online, and we leverage upon the other services like Grab, Lala Move, and all those ones that are able to provide services during this period of time. So these are three options that we are actually currently, for the past 1 week, have embarked on.
Maybe I can chime in as
Yes,
well.
Kim.
This is Kim from Picha. I think what we did is we know that a lot of people want to support the SE. They actually want to support one. They know that we will have operational costs and beneficiaries to feed. So what we did is we came up with a movement where people could feed the frontliners. But the people that put in money, they know that they are supporting the beneficiaries as well to work, and also our operations. So just need to be very clear to them that part of the money will go to our operations, because we need to make sure that we stay afloat throughout the next 30 to 90 days or even 6 months. So they do know that, they do understand that we are SE, so they know that their money putting in every dollar helps in many different ways. So that one, I think, need to be very clear to the people that is going to sponsor you. And if you could come up with like an initiative that could help in these difficult times in different ways, and tell people that, you know, it's helping the SEs to also continue to stay afloat, I think that would a lot of corporate would definitely want to sponsor and help us to go through this. Especially you probably have to identify corporates that understand the SE concept, like the social enterprise concept. So that's one. And then the second one is we quickly, I think during the first few days, we quickly pivoted to doing online businesses. So same as Kuhan, the things that we are putting online doesn't really align with our F&B business as well, which is okay, because I think very important that we need to know that we need to pivot anytime when we need to. So seeing what strength or resources that you have in your team, and then come up with a new business plan and quickly work on it. So that's what we're currently working on now. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Kim. Anyone else? Anja, would you like to share some of your initiatives? Okay, all right. So for me, I mean, when you hearing about Kuhan and Kim, I think those are individual initiatives. But I think Alex is asking about how do we band together. Carl talks about how can we band together to aggressively cut costs. I think that's one area that we could do. Again, I think in to do these kind of things, you either need to know each other or you need to have some form of platform where you could sort of like match things up, right? Like Debbie was asking about, could we do a peer-to-peer sharing forum to discuss current experience and solution, or maybe somewhat like a forum where needs and demand, you know, where we match things up. There is actually an initiative by MDEC to start that. Roslyn, do you have some details about that? But I do agree that some form of a platform I think is needed for different kind of SCs to come together and then on their own then start doing cost cutting or sharing of resources or even generating income as a group rather than individual pockets. Roslyn, would you like to share your insights on, I think, MDEC's initiative?
I don't have very much information on the MDEC one, but as of 2 days ago, I think yesterday, there was a press release put out that MIDEC is looking into an initiative called Sajiwa, that's specifically for social entrepreneurs, and that is about bringing to the marketplace supply and demand. So I believe that will be trickled down to us in this very short time soon, and we are already triggering teams to look into that. But as soon as we have more details on how that works out and the mechanisms of it, we'll be surely sharing that out with you. Is that, did you get that? Did you manage to?
So Alex was asking, yes, a platform to link together. For example, duplicating. Can we duplicate more GoJob, Masalawi, and Picha? Okay, Alex, would you want to ask that question?
I see wonderful wonderful initiative as a collab by GoJob, Masala, and Picha. I'm making the assumption they band together because they were from the same boot camp. I'm just assuming, right? But if we are not cohorts together, it will be very difficult for me to reach out to whoever that is in this forum today. There's 46 of us. I think I barely know 20%. So can CSAT or Purpose or whoever, right, become that intermediary to kind of match, because I think there's a lot of power in banding together. I really like what Dasrit said, but it's easier said than done, right? I cannot band together with people that I don't know, and it would be too difficult for me to get to know 46 people one by one, right? So if there is somebody in the middle who knows how to put people together and then bring us together into that discussion, I think would be helpful.
Right. So I think that's a suggestion by Alex. I think as well that is a need. There was actually an idea called sepadan. Sepadan is padan means match, kan? So it's not like like a dating. It's not a dating site, but it's a date. It's a matching platform called sepadan. The idea is to actually have a platform where SEs introduce themselves and also share what are their current needs, and then also another part of it is where SEs come in and also share what they have access of, and then the matching happens on their own collaboration on the outside. But let me just ask a quick question. Do you think a simple platform as a start would be something that you guys would like to have?
Hi, it's Debbie here from Project 57. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, yes. Go on, Debbie.
Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, so actually, I think it's a great idea to just start small. I mean, like to even just have that chat group, right? Where, you know, we can all come together, like you said, your leads and needs, yeah, matching. And then it doesn't have to be so structured to start with. Like example, Project 7 we're on, and I think I'm not sure whether Kim you're on it, but there's a Project Wawasan Rakyat, which are all the CSOs and NGOs. So there's this platform with about like maybe 70 or 80 organizations on it. And of course, people get added, etc. And it becomes this platform where, you know, you can put forward a need, or you can discuss, or and then after that, you can actually go offline with someone, right? Because, and that platform also gives that kind of verification, like the people coming onto the platform are legitimate, or they're authentic. They're, you know, we belong to the CSED, sort of like verified SE platform. So yeah, I think that's great. And also, I really feel that I would love to be like in maybe a smaller group, right? Where we can discuss the real solutions and the real needs, like people's practical solutions on how to go through this, and kind of like you feel if you feel like, oh, I'm not alone. You know, you have that feeling as well. I'm not alone when you hear everyone else's experience. Yeah.
Okay, I think Nazrik, I'm game. I think we can start, as like what Debbie says, we can start small. Maybe what we could do is we could maybe utilize CSAT's Facebook, or we could host a jam board where we can then put clusters. Yeah, for example, like food cluster, maybe a couple of different clusters where people can come in and work and sort of share. I like the what Debbie coined, leads and needs. Yeah, so maybe is a board on leads and needs based on different clusters. Comments, Desiree, or anyone?
Yeah, I was waiting for everyone's comment, but I agree. So there's this short term and mid to long. What Alex suggested, I think it's really good, and we need to look into that. What Debbie suggested is almost short term, which I think, and I know someone was stating maybe we could leverage on the existing currency set platform, whether it's Facebook or whatever it is. But I think that was the intention by Nina and also Kim in terms of the super clustering, where we kind of like band together within our subset group. But thanks for the suggestion. So I'm pretty sure we will take this and see how we could sort of mobilize this fairly quickly. Now I'm cognizant of the time also. If you guys don't mind, can we move to the second piece? Joanna, if that is okay with you.
I'm great. Would you like to start off that one first?
Yeah. Okay. I'll do that. Then we will. I'll do a bit of a supersonic on that one. But I think this is pretty much what's on everyone's mind to some extent. Wait, yeah. I'll need to share the screen now. And this is a bit more short term. And I feel regardless whether you're a social enterprise or not, or if you're leading any organization, this is something that I feel that we need to consider first. And I'll go a bit fast on this, but I think this is something short term or the things that we could do now before all of that comes about, right? So the ones that we've discussed earlier, to create a platform, to do all this semester, you know, the engagements platform and stuff like that. And even if you go back contextualize to what Roslyn mentioned earlier about Sejiwa and stuff like that, it may take a while, I feel, and trickling down to the ground also, I feel it's a bit time consuming to that extent. Now, I just want to share some context here, and if you guys know, so I run Purpose, a venture builder, so to speak, and a lot of our portfolio also is pretty much going through what you guys are going through in terms of business practitioners and owners and stuff like that. I just want to pose this question, and I don't know whether we can do the polling, Jora, but if
we can.
We can, yeah. So I want to start with this. Are you or your social enterprise is ready for what's to come? Basically, are you prepared? I don't know how does the polling work, so I'm also wanting to see if, do I need to control that?
No, I can launch the poll now?
Okay.
Right. Can everyone see the poll?
I see. Okay. So do we get the result or belum lagi?
I think we should now. There's 20 respondents, so we're gonna wet 22. So yeah.
Okay, never mind. So what's the general sentiment, I guess?
Don't know. Seems to can you see what I see, you guys? No.
No, I think you probably.
Okay, maybe I can share my screen. Yeah. Can you see the progress?
No, your desktop screen too.
Yeah. Can you see my desktop screen?
Yeah, but no, we can't see. I think you need to share your apa ni? Orang kata your Zoom screen code.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So maybe what I could do is my Zoom screen, Okay, hold on. 29 took the. Can you see now?
Tak ada, but it's okay lah kot. I think you can read.
Okay, never mind. Let me just screen capture and then maybe.
So I would assume, I guess majority would say don't know. Am I correct to assume as such?
Hold on. Let me just share the file to everyone. All right. So I'm sharing the screenshot to everyone. How come people can't see the?
Okay, yeah, but it's okay lah. Nanti kalau ada we bring that up. But my hypothetical assumption here is that not many kind of know what to anticipate. And I like to extend this to answering Alex's question earlier in terms of what would be the short-term measure. And I want to share this, and I kind of like share this with the portfolios that I deal with purpose, but I think it's also benefiting, at least from a framing standpoint, for you all. Now, I'm taking the assumption here, I'm taking everything external that you can't control out. So things around, do we receive grants? Do we can leverage on certain programs and stuff like that out of this context? And this is pretty much for your business's purposes only. And I would like to pose this question, you need to pull about whatever it is. Have you done scenario planning? And these are three things that you probably need to consider. And I know it's very tactical, but I think it's quite important to get that framing. Have you considered scenario planning for the worst kind of situation? Based on the stats that was given just now, we could actually go a bit more bad. What's happening now, or even the best case of scenarios, right? So my view is always plan for the worst with the best possible kind of preparation. I'm going to share something, I can't go so detailed on this, but I'm going to share something in terms of structure and tips, probably, to pivot. I call it priority pivot, but purpose pivot also can. It's pretty much 7 key actions for business unusual. And I want to get you guys, if you're a social entrepreneurs or whatever, that you run a business companies or whatever it is, to at least think along these 7 things first. You know, you need to recognize that you're running in a business unusual, which I think most of us do, and which a lot of people kind of neglect, is actually do this scenario and financial planning. And this is to shape mitigation strategy. Then you develop mitigation strategy, develop an operation plans around it. Sorry, I'm just going to put laser pointer. Then communicate continuous monitoring and improvement initiatives. While this seems like a checklist, but I could go on, but I wouldn't want to go a bit more very detailed to this, but you can at least take this as guidelines or steps to take. Now, we're end of March, and if you're going through MCO for the next couple of weeks, maybe perhaps it's good to also look into your business first before contextualizing into the things that you can leverage on, which is pretty much what Masala Will did, which is pretty much what Kim did, and a few others did. But this is almost like a structured kind of process, I feel. I'll go through very briefly on this, but we'll share this out also for the ones here for the benefit, and it's get recorded anyway. First things first is actually business unusual. Do simulations, understand your businesses, what you can do, what you can do. Decide on a strategy to move forward, right? See, now we got it. So 53% says, I don't know. Only 5% says yes, but 42% says not ready. So I'm just giving here tips to at least consider some steps for you to do structurally to make sure that you decide the best kind of strategy for you to move forward in terms of business. I'll go through a bit in terms of what does that mean, because it's pretty much just a framework. Sekejap.
Hi, Na. Good morning.
Sorry, I didn't know it was lagging just now. So for the first 2 things, and this is something that you need to consider for the next week if you haven't do it already. The first one is quite important. You need to be decisive and directive in the sense of declare it as a business unusual, pivot the strategies that your business are going through. And the idea here is actually just to create urgency. Now, all of the things that you need to do is actually review and revisit all relevant information that you have, whether it's about your transactions, whether it's about your scenarios, whether it's about dealing with beneficiaries, and make options out of that strategies. If you're a sole founder, I recommend you at least discuss or decide or brainstorm with. But if you have a management team that you can do this with, I think it's better and it's more sound. So this is pretty much the first week. If you haven't done so, go through all the current SEs that you have But the key thing that I probably want to get you guys to think about is actually your cash flow. Because this is quite important in terms of how do you pivot your resources and how do you going to go through with the next couple of months and period. At this point of time, just shape your possible strategies, but don't make a decision, but just make sure, know what your options are in that sense. Now, the following week would be a bit tedious for everyone. And especially if you're running a small team and you don't have a management team, this is where the rubber really hits the road, I feel. Because you're gonna make tough decisions. And tough decision here, not just pivoting. And in a brutal, honest scenario, you might need to hibernate for a while. And depending on what was your possible outcomes, right? So make decision based on info at hand. And the most important thing that you need to do is actually get buy-in and alignment across stakeholders, because you want to be responsive and not reactive to the scenarios. So think around this, and if you have a big enough team, then you probably need to sort of decide and divide and conquer among your teams to do certain specific strategies and mitigation plan. Now, the last one is I cluster all these three together, and this is pretty much going to go on after you've decided what's the execution plan, how do you do it, and stuff like that, is that how do you actually going to communicate and reset your expectation with your stakeholders. The important thing here is actually to be brutally honest, because you don't need to sugarcoat, I feel, because once you sugarcoat, you set a different kind of expectation to either your beneficiaries, which is the worst case scenario, to your partners or your customers in that regard. So these are just the checklist, but once you've gone through all that, you need to also be open in terms of to be agile and nimble and implement corrective measures, because whatever you've done here is not proven and tested, because this is unprecedented. So just need to be wary in terms of if you're pivoting, what kind of that you need to take, what kind of the stuff that you need to do, and maybe you need continuous improvement in that sense. Sorry, I couldn't go so much on this because I know I'm cognizant of time, but I wanted you guys to sort of, at least if you haven't seen this, put this into context. So there's the other curve that I feel that we need to flatten. It is not just the COVID curve, because this is actually a SARA model, which I found is quite interesting. As we go through difficult times, emotionally, as a practitioner, business owners or social entrepreneurs, we're going to go through this phase. First, you're going to have all this shock with whatever happened with this MCO. Now, we're kind of like here, I feel, with the general sentiment, whereby people are angry, whether the stimulus is not helping SMEs or SEs or whatever is in that sense. Then there'll be a point where people would actually resist, complain and stuff like that. And towards the end, people were actually going to accept it for whatever it is in that sense. The idea here is actually to sort of make a linear, if possible, in an idealistic scenario, so that we go through this without much of an abruption. And this has a bit of context to your businesses, because once you implement whatever measures that you need to take, your business will go through the same cycle. So assuming now, a lot of us are at this point, because it's business unusual. Now, if you don't do any mitigation and stuff like that, chances are you're gonna still go down there and it doesn't help your business. What I've said about earlier with that sort of tips and framing is actually, I call it pivoting. But realize that once you pivot, a lot of people would be at discomfort. And whether it's your beneficiary or whether it's your customers. So these are the things why communicate honestly is quite important in that sense. So this is pretty much going to be your new ways of working, whatever that may be. So if you need to do things more digitally, you need to pivot, you need to diversify, like what Masalawi is going through, do that, but communicate consistently and constantly, because you want to make sure that you recover kind of as soon as possible. And here would take your natural cost. So I'll share this out. sorry I can't deep dive into what all this means specifically, but I think I would want to share with you guys, at least to think about it. So this is almost short term. If you haven't done any planning or thought around it, maybe first week of April, focus on this, second week on this. And this is where you kind of decide whether you need to touch wood, close shop, or hibernate, or pivot, or whatever it is. But this is pretty much going to be your new ways of working, so to speak. But that's kind of the thing that I wanted to share now, and I hope that, you know, it puts a bit of framing. If you haven't done this for your business, for your social enterprise, please do. Take a stab at it. There's no right or wrong answer, but at least it keeps you on the edge in terms of knowing what's to come. So I hope at least, you know, the 51% wouldn't say I don't know anymore, but at least it's either yes or no. Because the worst thing that will happen is actually you don't know what you can't plan for. But go through that exercise, and I'm sure you guys can sort of get some takeaways out of it. I'll pass that back to you, Joya. I know I kind of went on supersonic a bit, but I wanna give some space for the other three to sort of share with regards to what they do in the grassroots level. Hope that helps.
Thank you, Azri, for that. So for just for the sake of time, maybe 5 minutes only for Q&A on that. Then we can move on to our last, to our next, which is the sharing from the 3 SEs. Anyone would like to have any questions on what Nazri has just presented? No? All right, going once, going twice. Okay, so anyway, as Nazri said, we will be sharing that with everyone here. So just make sure that we get your email, and if you could privately message me your email, because I know some of you are not, I don't think so. I'm sure there's some that did not register, just walked in. So those that are just walking in, if you could possibly just private chat me your email so that I can then make sure you guys get the deck. Yeah. So with that, I would like to invite our other speakers. Yeah. The first one being so let me see, where's my agenda. Yeah. All right. So Masalah Will, Kuhan, for you to start the grassroots sharing. Over to you, bro. Kuhan, are you there?
No, I think it's so Kuhan, I think he had to do his runs, but maybe we could do with Felicia and Zaria.
Felicia? All right, so Felicia, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Jora. Let me just on my video so that you guys can see me. Okay, is this all right? Okay, hi everyone. My name is Felicia and I run Arus Academy. Arus Academy focuses on education. So we basically create and deliver meaningful learning experiences for students. And we do it through 4 different pillars. The first one is directly through youth engagement. So working directly with the students and especially the B40 community. And then the second pillar, we create a lot of content. So content development is something very key for us. And the third one is we also do teacher training. So teacher training is one of the ways we reach out to our beneficiaries. So at the end of the day, our beneficiaries are the students, particularly B40 students. But we use different ways to sort of reach out to them. And one of it is through teacher training as well. And the last pillar that we have is actually community engagement. So this is a little bit more touch and go for us to just reach out to more students. So during this sort of COVID-19 season, what we've done is we actually shift a lot of our programs online. So in regards with teacher training, we've been working very closely with the ministry. So for some of you that are not too in touch with education, actually at the start of the year, the Ministry of Education have already created a digital learning platform whereby every student and every teacher in Malaysia, and I'm talking about public school, yeah. So in my context is a lot of public school. So every public school student and teacher are already given Google accounts. So MOE actually managed to create a collaboration with Google to allow students and teachers to use the Google platform for digital learning. So actually for us, fortunately, we have already been working with the ministry and Google on this prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. So we have already been putting up a lot of our content online. We have already been actually trying to train teachers to be more active on e-learning and thinking about how to close that gap, you know, because a lot of people talk about if we go into e-learning, would it then widen the gap between the urban and the rural? How do we then close that gap? For us, we do see that technology would be able to help bridge the gap, but of course, device comes into play. So getting teachers trained to see the potential of this technology is very important. So during this time, we've been actually running quite a lot of free webinars for teachers to see how they can effectively use a lot of these tools. One way to really reach out to students is actually using this tool in a very effective manner, not just using it as like, you know, passively receiving information on the student end. How can we make our online lesson more engaging and more interactive so that the content and the quality of a lesson doesn't dilute as we're doing e-learning. With regards to our immediate beneficiary, which are our students, our youth engagement program, we are also looking at actually turning a lot of the content into digital content. A lot of our content focus a lot on actually coding and programming actually. So the way we create meaningful lesson is actually getting students to use technology to create solutions to problems that they see every day. And while students create all these projects, they then realize that actually whatever that I learn in school is so important for me to be able to create solutions to problems that I see. Even simple everyday problems, you know, little things like school being dirty. Can I then actually make use of my knowledge to create something and solve that problem? So we've actually, for the youth engagement side, so I talked a little bit about the teacher training side. For the youth engagement side, we've actually been contacting a lot of our parents and our students, and we've been delivering a lot of devices to them so that they can continue making and exploring at home. Because a lot of our students, if we don't provide the devices for them, they wouldn't be able to do a lot. They wouldn't really be able to do anything at home. So we want them to continue learning at home. So we've been trying to see how we can reach out more to them. I think a lot of this is still, we are still experimenting and thinking of different ways. I really like how everyone was talking about having, like Reza was saying, having smaller cluster of people working in the same industry to sort of come together and brainstorm. I welcome anyone from the education sector to have a brainstorm and discussion session. I think I see it as the more people are working towards the education part, the more we can reach out to different people. We can't reach out to that many people on our own, but if we can work together, we can then reach out to a wider and broader community as well. In terms of the business side of things, a lot of our programs, because it is face-to-face program, a lot of them has been postponed. Obviously, the way we get revenue is we actually create corporate partnership. So corporate will pay us to train the teachers to be more equipped in e-learning or certain kind of technology. So a lot of those training has been postponed, but we then quickly think, okay, can we then counter propose to our client a different way of doing the training? So thankfully, one of our clients have already accepted our proposal to actually turn one of the training into a e-training. So we're looking at open source platform where we can build all these courses to minimize the operation cost on our side. So we're looking at Google for course builder, and we're looking at a lot of other different platforms where we can create our program on. at a minimal kind of cost as well. So I think that's what we've been doing. I would love to hear what other people are doing in the education sector. For us, it's just really like thinking about how we can reach out to teachers, not just students, because teachers, they then reach out to more students. So if we're able to help teachers, especially public school teachers, then we are able to actually help even more students, which are our beneficiary at the end of the day. Yeah. That's it from me in terms of me just solely talking. If anyone has any questions or input, feel free to ask or write in the chat. I'll try to answer as much as I can. But yeah.
Okay, thanks Felicia. Stay on video. I'm opening this next 3 minutes for any question for Felicia. And maybe an opportunity to start reaching out to her if you are in the same sector. Anyone?
Me, I've reached out.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
be reaching out.
So Nina will be reaching out. Yeah. Any question, Nina?
I got a message from Nina.
Oh, okay. So that will be sideline on the side. Dah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else, Nina? Would you like to say?
Nanti ada arus angsa dekat Sabah Sarawak.
All right. Thank you, Nina. Yeah. Anyone else?
I'd like to reach out. I think one of the challenges of using webinars is how do you ensure compliance? Like, are people actually learning?
Sorry, can I just get your name so that I know how to reach out to you? Your name and where you're from?
Jonathan Dason, and from United Nations Association Malaysia Youth, UNAM Youth.
Okay. So I think for us, we are still trying the different ways of doing webinars. One we find useful is trying to think, because our normal sessions, the face-to-face ones, has always been very interactive. So we're trying to see how we can translate that into webinars as well. So a few things that we've tried is to still incorporate quizzes and polling as we're doing the webinars, so teachers can actually give feedback. And as we are presenting, there's a lot of moment of pause where we get teachers to respond through the chat or through giving reaction. So Zoom is quite good because you can do polling very immediately and get teachers to respond. And we also, at the end of our webinars, we get teachers to fill in like a quick quiz and feedback form as well. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Fisher. Mubin.
Thank you.
Mubin, you have a question?
Hey, Felicia. I
Hi.
see that you guys are managing to link with government and collaborating with them on a large scale. How do you guys manage to make that connection?
Okay, so with regards to working with the government, right, we've been actually fortunate enough that last year we were already working with EPRD. EPRD is Education, Research and Development under the Ministry of Education. And so with that collaboration, we were actually linked to someone in the ministry that was working on the digital platform, which is the platform that every student and teacher are on. So because of that, we knew the person that was doing this initiative. And when all this movement control order came up, he actually approached us and say like, are you guys running any webinars? I'm very worried for the public school teachers that they don't know how to log in. Students don't know how to use the platform. So then I also know someone from Google Malaysia that just started. So then we all came together and sort of brainstormed how can we produce all this content to help teachers. So for you, I think we would actually, I think we're more than happy to actually see who else is doing webinars to then blast it out to all the teachers as well. Yeah, so for now, the collaboration that I have is with the ministry and also the Google partners. So we are a Google partner as well, where you can get yourself certified and then teach the Google tools. Yeah, so it's from a previous collaboration that we already have. I see
Thank you,
someone.
Felicia.
So,
Awa?
wait, so you...
Oh, sorry, Mubin, you have a follow-up question. Sorry, yes.
Yeah, so you mentioned that you're looking for other people who are doing webinars.
Yeah, so if you're interested to connect and sort of see whether you can put yourself on this big schedule that they're organizing, you can drop a message to me and then I can sort of follow up on the site.
Okay, yeah, let's connect after this. Thank you, Felicia.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mubin. There's a question by Awang. Awang, would you like to ask your question? Can we could hear your voice?
Yeah. Hi, Felicia. I'm Awang from Setempat. I want to ask about how about the rural area. They have no internet connection and they have no gadget or laptop or PC to do the work, right? For this NCO, how do you tackle this kind of problem for them in there?
Okay, thank you, Awang. Fortunately for us, I don't really have a specific answer to that question. I also am still thinking like, how do we actually reach the most rural people, right? But from our experience, actually, a lot of students that we engage with, they actually have a mobile phone and they have a lot of mobile data. So my students, they have mobile data rather than the mobile minutes itself, because sometimes I will ask them to call their parents and they're like, oh, we don't have minutes, but we have data. We only have data. So on our side, we don't have that much of the problems in terms of internet because they do have their phones. And we then try to think about projects that they can do that doesn't require them to actually have computers. So there are a lot of things that they can do, hands-on things that they can do that doesn't require them to have a laptop per se. The internet is good just so that we can connect with them. So we connect with them and then sort of do projects that is more hands-on and doesn't require them to use laptop. So I don't really have a specific answer to your question, Awang. I would also love to know how other people are reaching out to really the most rural places where internet connectivity is a problem. Yeah, because for us, we've been doing a lot of coding and programming programs. So the students that we reach out to, they are rural, but they do have some sort of internet connection, or we've worked with partners to provide these for them. Yeah, so for example, we work with Pusat Internet to provide internet for these people. But now that the movement control is pretty strict, we're also not too sure how that will work out. I'll quickly answer Nina's question. Age range, we do work with primary school students, more on the upper primary level, so year 5, 4, 5, and 6. Specifically, a lot of our content is aligned with the curriculum. I think that's why we have a strong connection with the government. We don't take money from them, but we partner with them so that we can reach out to our beneficiaries. So a lot of our content is actually aligned with the KSSR and KSSM, which is the national syllabus. So we do primary year 4, 5, 6, and also secondary students content. Yeah.
All right. Anyone else that has a question for Felicia? Oh yeah, so Azimi, would you like to ask the question? Can hear your voices.
Hi Felicia.
Hi.
Okay,
Yeah.
hi. I'm Azimi from U4U. Was just wondering, how do you reach out to your schools? Is it through the Ministry of Education directly, where it obviously involves a lot of bureaucracy and getting this approvals and that approvals? So when we engage with our B4 students, we go through an NGO that is in the education pillar. But I was just wondering if there's any other alternative way of addressing this or approaching this rather. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I think we use very similar methods with you. Sometimes if we want to do it very quickly, some of our programs, we go directly to the schools. So we identify schools that are in need of the program, and then we sort of go directly through the school. We do go through MOE because a lot of it is public school, right? So if the school say yes to your program, it makes the process on the PPD, which is the district level, and JPN, which is the negeri level, a lot easier. So we leverage a lot on the connection and network that we built among the years. So for Arus, the 4 co-founders, including myself, we used to be teachers in national school. And because of that, we know and we have a wide teacher network. So every time we want to do a program, it's easier for us to identify which are the schools that would benefit most from our programs. And most of the time, we reach out directly to the school and then get the approval from the JPN level, which is the state level. Because at the end of the day, they would still need some sort of permission letter. So I would say building that strong network with the ministry, we work also with MDEC education department, and they have a lot of connection with the ministry as well. I'm happy to connect with you in terms of the networks that we have, so we can probably talk a little bit more on the side as well. Yeah, I mean, for me, like, the more programs that other people are doing, the better as well, because then we can collectively reach out to a lot more students.
All right. Thank you so much, Felicia. I think she deserves a reaction from us. Maybe if you can just do that clap, thingy. Yeah. All right. So with that, thank you so much, Felicia. Let's now go to Zarina. Zarina, are you there?
Hi, Juara.
Hi, Zarina. Okay.
Much with me, you got double trouble.
All right. So the time is yours, madam. Yeah.
Sama. Hi, good morning, everybody. I just got back from TV3. I had a show this morning with Borak Kopitiam. They wanted to know about my initiative on food for frontliners. As you know, Oman, I run 2 social enterprises, which is Drop and Wash and also Go Job. At this MCO, Drop and Wash is badly affected. Our income has gone down to probably about 10-20%. And we only have one hub, which is our Jalan Tun Razak hub, which is holding the fort strongly right now, or rather desperately, with a very, very minimized operations because we are doing work for hotels. So that's why we are able to open, unlike all other laundries or coin operators. We are not coin operators, by the way. So we get to open, so we get approval to open. So we are utilizing that channel to bring in as much income as we can, because our workers are poor people. And now they don't have jobs. Some of them has taken unpaid leave. Some work in days, but my all other Selangor outlets semua tutup. Okay, we have no choice but to tutup because of the state directives. But we are also doing work at the back end, alternate days, because we need the income. We have no choice, and there are customers coming in to drop off. So we do it by way, by way of appointment. So that's how we deal with the current MCO at the moment. So we have no choice but to hold the fort and try as much to live up with the income that whatever we can make, instead of just sitting and not doing anything. I have a lot of entrepreneurs are calling me, what are you doing? And we are also worried, and that's one of the reasons I kickstarted. Not the main reason, but I went into active different segment business model for Go Job, because before the MCO, I've started sending food to Hospital Serdang, because the chief of the screening COVID department over there is a close friend of mine, whom I have been doing a lot of mobile clinic for the different segments of beneficiaries previously. So I asked him, Doc, what do you need over there? Because he was telling us about the condition, the workers, the staff over at the COVID station. And he shared with me that between 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., there isn't food for these people. especially the frontliners that is working at night, you know, and including the emergency department. But he said that, you know, you can't be feeding the whole team, Zarina. You can feed maybe 20 first. So, you know, I started sending my own initiative, you know, to send food for the first night, and then shared with a small group of network, and sponsors started coming in. So I decided to open up a new segment of my of GoJob for our catering services, for us to, you know, to cater to the demand at the same time. And I call on other social others to partner with me, and I've invited Picha and, you know, Masala Wheels, and some chefs, you know, women entrepreneurs that has also contacted me who wishes to collaborate. So now we have about not only we're giving good meals to the frontliners, but we're also helping the social enterprise. This is what I've been trying to say from day one, for all of us to share resources and share, collaborate. But it takes a crisis to happen for us to do this. It's not too late. It's not too late. We can still work together. There's also other segments that we can work on. Please tap on my networks, because I have worked with the governments, the corporate sectors, and NGOs before. So I know how they deal, and I have the networks. And I have access to many beneficiaries in Klang Valley, which I've been working on before GoJob even started, because of my work with Drop and Wash and my work as a legal practitioner, you know, 20 years back. You know, so there are segments that I've been trying to do all this while and collaborate with other SEs. But I hope that other SEs are willing to open up, share resources, not to worry, steal each other's beneficiaries or clients or whatnot. We're not here to do that, you know, because I remember during the last government, PH government, they actually announced on DASA, apa DKN ya, apa DKN, is it Dasar Keusahawanan Negara or something like that. I pun tak ingat apa nama dia. So I was going to do up. Yes, DKN, yes. And part of the segment is SE. So I did speak to some people, which I did call some of them. They came over to my office. So I said, you know, are you willing to work together on this? Some has agreed, some has, you know, just, you know, brushed me off, you know. But I think it is a good time for us to do this after this MCO is over. There's so many things to do, you know. There's so many under KDN, you know, under apa tu, YB Zuraida is under KP apa nama lalu apa perumahan you know. So we can collaborate, you know. There's a lot of segments we can attack, we can go in, you know. This is not the time for us to be like sitting down at home and not do anything, you know. I've been very busy. This MCO period, I am super busy, you know, and you know, from 20 meals I'm doing to 70 meals in Serdang, doing 50 meals in in Sungai Buloh, 50 meals in GH, and I've got collaboration with Picha doing 200 meals to Serdang and also to B40s now. I've got a lot of demands for that.
Project Wawasan Rakyat as well.
Yeah, we are also collaborating with CSO, with Debbie's group, with Project Wawasan, you know. So there is a lot of network that we can tap on and go for it, Juara. This is what I've been trying to say from idea stage. I've been telling this, please tap on each other. Don't be shy. Don't be, you know, it's okay that we don't know things. I don't know a lot of things, you know. I'm not good at, you know, doing slides or whatnot. I know Dasrik used not to be very not happy with my slides those days, you know. But you know, my network, I have them. Okay, you know, I you know, today after TV3 punya interview, I got a lot of messages coming in, and I already got, you know, Sam from apa dia punya wellness tu, artful apa benda tah, your good friend Sel, apa nama dia? Artful something, right? Something to do with art, right? The children's art. Yeah, so we are collaborating as well. So that's a good start. It's not too late, you know. So to me, this is not, you know, this is a good time for us to you know, break our mind and the mindset and go for it. You know, don't yeah, art wellness. Thank you, Sam. Yes. So you know, I used to have access to YB Zuraida then, but she's very busy now. But it doesn't mean that, you know, we can't. You know, we can always do that. Do something that DKN tu memang something that we can work on. I don't know why we're not doing it. I don't know why you all not doing it. You know, it's such a waste. Just do it. Just go in and do it. No need to wait to have 50 million or 500,000 or, I mean, we're not Baby Yusof, man, to wait until 1 million, you know, to have 1 million in to start doing something. No need. I started with 50 to send the food to go to Serdang, and then now I'm you know I'm expanding more. I'm setting up kitchens with other chefs at the same time, you know, and I would like the civil society to also appreciate us that we are SEs, models, you know. So we, at the end of the day, we're running a business. So whatever money that comes in, it will translate in case that we will do a bill and whatnot, you know. So this is something that got to, so that, you know, we are SEs, you know, this business model cannot go our internet is slow. Okay. You know, our business model is such, you know, but like Kim said earlier, we just have to work with everybody, but at the same time, they have to appreciate that we are actually an SE as a different set of with NGOs. But you know, at the same time, before the MCO, we already give you some support with the vegetables, right? Yeah, I'm collaborating with Grab Cycle as well, you know, and now I'm going to give him more orders because I'm working with B40s that wants the vegetables, and they want it fast. They want it now. Their homes are like, you know, these people around. We don't even have to go far, you know. People in Kramat, in Kampung Baru, in Titiwangsa, there are a lot of poor people there, you know. In Pantai, you know, banyak tempat. Semalam I dapat from Kampung Medan area, you know, they're asking me for bantuan. So why are we not tapping on all this? You have all the beneficiaries, find the resources and collaborate, you know. And I'm collaborating with Grab Cycle now. You know, this is what I've been trying to say from day one, you know. Let's collaborate. I just don't have money to do it on my platform GoJob because everybody that comes to me is so expensive, you know. I wanted to do a form for all SEs to, like a SE there, for us to cross-sell each other, you know. So that was the whole, I hope not being rough on everybody, but I think, you know, a lot at this moment of time, people are very demotivated. Don't be, you know, because we want everybody to boost up all energy, you know. Rapatkan sah walaupun social distancing, you know. So you know, cross sell, do whatever it's to start your business, you know. If we don't do it among ourselves, who else going to understand us? So, you know, this is what I'm asking, you know. And after this, let's do into DKN. Let's bulldoze into it and do it. You know, there's so many things to think of already, you know. And my office in Publica is you know, is ready. It's always open. You all can come and use it. You know, you know, just call me and text me. You wanna come and you know.
Anja's been there.
Just been there. Masara will been there. You know. Alex tak pernah. Siapa lagi? Siapa lagi? Food bike dah pergi. You know, and all those people. Okay, yeah, you can keep in touch with me. My number is 012-288-0444, or you can go to GoJobs Facebook. We are there, okay? So yes, please, I think that rapatkan some social distancing. Yes. Okay. So whatever networks that we have, we should just use it, okay, please. This is not the time for us to
012-288-0444.
Yeah, itu my personal number personal number. Dulu I used to give a hotline number, tapi I thought I answer faster to everybody. So you know, just keep in touch with me. Kalau I tak jawab, I will jawab later on, but I will jawab insyaAllah. Okay, my office is not running from home, but when everything is back up, let's just meet up. You know, you don't have to come also, meet up or call me or whatever, you know, we can do. You know, there's so many things that can be done together. Yeah. Okay, Juara.
All right. Thank you, Zarina. Omar, stay on video. I always say kalau nak sebut go job tu sebut pelan-pelan, jangan laju-laju sangat. Nanti nama lain pula keluar.
Ya.
Opening
Cop.
apa?
Tolonglah hantar laundry dekat apa ni, Jalan Tun Razak. You all nak pick up, we can pick up in Setia Alam, Bukit Jelutong.
Hantar Grab.
Bukit Jelutong boleh. Setia Alam, you all can just drop out yourself, please. Laundry.
Hantar dengan speedy juga.
Alright, ini first collaborate dah terus. Yes, that's good idea. Thank you so much for that. Kan?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I'm opening the space. I do apologize, guys. If it's okay, we're gonna extend just another 5 more minutes before we start. We sort of close everything up. But let's have 3 minutes for Q&A untuk Zarina. Nafis seems to have a question. Yes, Nafis.
Not a question. So I talked to. Have you ever heard of Dego Rides? So I talked to the founder Nabil. And asked him if, let's say, for example, Dego Rides is willing to offer any help or collaborate with any social enterprises and nonprofits. And Dego Rides is definitely willing to help out. So just a bit of info, Dego Rides has reach in Klang Valley. They have riders and drivers on the platform. And I've talked to the BizDev team. So if any SEs and nonprofits have any deliveries, instead of waiting for the requests from riders to come to accept, they can bypass it because I can connect you right away to the BizDev team so they can fasten your delivery processes. Would you be open to
the chat, the name?
Dego Rides, I don't know.
Dego Rides, yeah. So they charge RM1 per kilometer.
Okay. Thank you, Nafis. Could you just put a little bit of that detail in the chat because we are capturing all the chat text and summarizing it later. Thank you so much for that, Nafis. Brilliant.
Thank you. Okay, I'll note that. Maybe I can work them on laundry deliveries as well.
Yeah, sure. Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Anyone else with a comment, a question, or an offer? Would be much appreciated. Oh yes, Yasmin.
Yes. Hi, Zarina.
Hi, Yasmin. I miss you.
Yes, I just wanna say that how your energy when you share, you are so positive, and it suddenly shift the energy. I love it very much, and what I like about you is that you exude this thinking about looking at possibility, not looking at things that is limiting. So a lot of times when people are negative and then they are so somewhat, how do we get out from this? Is maybe not looking in. You need to just be present, see who's around you, and also to reach out, not just stay status quo, not doing anything being said. So I like that energy. Continue doing that. I would like to suggest also the rest who inspired by you also start doing something. Do something, small step.
Exactly.
That's all. Yeah, that's all I want to say.
Thank you, Yasmin.
Thank you so much, Yasmin.
Anyone else? Another minute or so, before we wrap up.
Yeah, I've got a question again about governance. Yeah, I'm just sort of wondering because you mentioned that one of your companies is at risk of folding, and I think earlier there was another young
Sorry,
man.
hang on. Sorry, please.
You meant my name is Kyron.
Wait, it's low.
Wait, internet is low. Wait. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Your name?
My name is Kyron.
Hi, Kyron.
Hi. You mentioned earlier that one of your two companies are at risk of folding, and I think another gentleman earlier mentioned a similar risk because of the crisis. Just sort of wondering, in terms of the aid package, the economic stimulus package that the government put out a few days ago, if it's sufficient to tide your organization over the crisis, and if not, I mean, if yes, how long can you last with that support? And if not, how much more will you need?
Okay, from what I gather, the only thing that is beneficial to us SMEs is the 600 ringgit to cover for the staffing. That's all. The rest are all, they're asking us to take loans. How are we going to pay for the loans when we don't even have enough income at the moment? Some people have enough, some people don't, some people just have some. I don't have even, I mean, my hotels are going to pay me in 3 months' time.
Not 3, 4.
Now they just to us, they're gonna be paying in 3 months' time because they don't have enough load. They are cutting down their uniforms and their guest items. So we have got very limited work at the moment, and then walk-ins are very slow. Drop-offs are very limited because we cannot go far. People cannot come. So we have to rely on people like, like Dago and riders and things like that at the same time. We go anything beyond that. Yeah, but to me, the government is not looking for, not looking out at employers. They're only looking at employees. Employees kaya tau lepas ni.
Our rentals are still running.
Rentals are running, Rentals are not being deducted, except for my office. My landlord, my landlord tu kaya, dia tu dia kaya, so tak apalah kan. So he's trying to tell me that April 1 month wave, but all my other outlets all are running. They're not even giving discounts.
We are running 7 outlets at the moment, so all 7 are running.
Well, I'm now frantically, the minute I hear this, the minute I hear this, I started writing to everybody, to minimize whatever damage that we can have, But to me, the stimulus package, the only thing that is applicable to us is the 100 ringgit.
And
that is
15% TMB deduction.
TMB deduction. The rest, not everything is for the employees, not.
Okay, thanks. So just to add to that, if it seems that the government's not responding to your needs, or at least protecting the SMEs, which make up the bulk of our business community, and I know there was some conversation about banding together and helping each other out. I wonder if there's some value in also collecting some of this feedback about how much more the government will need to do so that it reduces your risk of folding, especially given that it'll actually cause a domino effect into the community through employment, etc. So it's just a call to action to say if there's a space for that, either by purpose or the collectives that you're putting together and the networks you have access to.
Well, I think some employers associations already started to do some call. Maybe perhaps we can do at the same time on SE level. I read today's news or yesterday's news, the employers association are asked to do that already. So I think it's a time that maybe CSED could assist, Magic could assist, and us as a collective effort could do anything, calling to tell them that, how us, and our market is possibly smaller than the bigger SMEs, but still we still play a big role in the economy, so we can say, a lot of things at the same time.
No, at the same time, I've been getting news outside with regards to FMB organizations. I think there are a lot of there. And then the Association of FMBs are actually writing to the Prime Minister, telling them to consider a few options like telling shopping mall owners, building owners not to charge rental during the MCO or for extended period, as well as because the malls are not earning income with the rentals, giving them tax exemptions as well for the shopping. There's been a list of things that they are doing. So I do not know whether the government is looking into it but as it is, they are not considering. But as far as concerned, our biggest bulk would be the rentals as well as the
gaji. Yeah. It's a matter of time that even my supplies will just coming in if I have no income, then I will just totally shut down. But right now, I'm still operating about 20% running for drop and wash. And for Go Job, we are, leveraging on the MBA. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Zarina. Thank you so much, everyone. A clap for Zarina, everyone. On the
just a small initiative.
Clap. There you go. Yes. All right. So, thank you so much, Zarina. I am. So stay on. Thank you for that. inputs.
Thanks, Ra.
Yeah. Okay, so we have come to the end of our session. And thank you so much, everyone, for staying on. It has been a pleasure. And I notice we still have a bulk of our viewers still here. And last but not least, Nadia would is going to paste in the chat board, Jamboard link. If possible, if you could just do us a favor to just go in and leave your comments there about what has been your biggest takeaway from this session, and if there's anything that we could do to make Sunday better the next round, would be greatly appreciated. With that, thank you so much, everyone. Have a blessed Sunday. Keep safe, and we will see you again some other time. Yes, bye. And don't forget to leave me your email on a personal basis if you are not, you have not registered. Yeah. Thank you. I'll keep this on for a bit until everyone leaves.
Bye. Thank you, Joe. A wonderful session for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I will just wait for everyone to leave just in case there's other chats, comments, so that I could capture it and pass it to you guys. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, CSAT. Thank you guys for making it real. Yeah. Thank you, Yasmin, for sharing your takeaway. So I'll just wait till everyone leaves, and then only I will close the window. All right. Okay. I think that seems to be almost everyone. Yeah. And I'll end the meeting right now. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you.